keep saying, please enter a preset title.
Hey, you got it. It doesn't say weapons anymore, so you're good.
Yeah, you gotta have
And
fun.
we're
Okay.
live.
Yeah, we're live. Welcome everybody. This is
It's a terrible
my
opening
group.
of a show right there.
Yeah. This is our group for the DFW Nerd Nighters Design Competition for 2015. I'd like to start off and go through and introduce everybody. I just realized all my cupboards are open behind me. I'm glad somebody warned me about that. So we'll start off going through and introduce everybody, and we'll start off with, we'll start off with Thor.
I'm Thor Hansen, game designer of 20 years, and this is my first tabletop design.
So Thor, what do you typically design?
Mostly role-playing games and role-playing game settings.
Dabble in some storytelling games, correct?
I more than dabble. Most of my role-playing is story games.
And that's kind of one of the common grounds that you and I found pretty early, is that we both really like story-driven games.
Yes.
Great. Let's see, Travis.
Primarily a playtester. I've tried to design things before. They've been pretty terrible. I do have something in the works now that isn't half bad, but I do like playtesting. So I've been hanging out with John and playing his stuff for quite a while.
Yeah, and what type of games do you enjoy the most?
Well, I'm really into deck builders currently. Playing a lot of Legendary. I like Dominion, but it doesn't hit the table as much as I'd like.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, but yeah, it doesn't seem to hit very often anymore, does it?
Yeah.
Let's see, John Burns, why don't you go next?
All right. Well, obviously I'm the other John. I've been doing design for probably 6 years. It sped up a lot when I joined the game designers meetup that we have every couple of weeks. I enjoy playtesting. Really enjoy breaking things, so that's always fun, breaking games. Games that I enjoy, most of the games I play are two-player, because I play games with my wife, but I like light economic, some area control. I was into deck builders for a while, sort of on the way out of that. I recently got into Trains, which is a deck builder. I enjoy as Thor says, the game of game design. So.
Very nice. Jim?
Jim Shuck. I playtest quite a bit for other people. I mostly make failed, terrible games that don't work, and I'd give up after a week. So my input on this project is pretty terrible.
I think you and Travis both have the distinction of probably playtesting every game that Isaac and I have designed so far.
Probably,
Pretty
yeah.
close, I think, yeah.
And they've got the scars to prove it.
And Ian?
I'm Ian. I guess I'm a child here in more ways than one. I guess I've been doing design things for about 3-4 months. I do actual graphic design mostly, and then I've started to dabble in actually designing my own games.
Yep. Ian and I kind of know each other from work, and I brought him on board for a PNP, a print and play project that I was doing in December. So definitely he's really good at the graphic design end of things. Not with us tonight is our other member, Earl, who couldn't be on tonight, but Earl's kind of been dabbling in design for a while now, and he's been playing games forever. I mean, he's been a part of our group for quite a while. So, first of all, So last Saturday was our our kickoff event for the design contest. Why don't you guys kind of give your thoughts about that event?
Sure, I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
Well, we sort of had a staggered arrival, and so a few of us got there and designed a game before we started game designing, not knowing what the components were. And then as we added people, it was really neat to see the different expertises, see the different types of game people like coming through in the design. So, theme and mechanics and those things mixing as we had a lot of ideas being thrown out and, doing rapid playtesting, changing things quickly. So it was interesting to see it take shape with so many voices in the room.
Yeah, I agree. I've never been part of a group where everything seemed to flow and just keep evolving throughout the day. Usually you'd hit a brick wall at some point.
Or just like two people have different ideas and one person really thinks this is going to work, another person thinks this is going to work. But the way we did it, it was just one person had an idea. All right, let's try that real quick. Well, maybe. How about your idea now? And then it just kept going and kept going, and then it just kept, there was no pushback. It was always just moving forward.
Yeah, I was very, very happy with how well everything went. I was a little bit worried at first with this big of a group that we would all kind of stymie each other a little bit and fight about ideas, but it flowed really well. And I think it was nice doing that warm-up game that we designed first, and everything really came together nicely.
Yeah, you can't always fall back on that if this doesn't work out. That other game, you can go forward with that. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I think the other game's got a lot of potential. I'm looking forward to continuing to work on that with you guys because I think that was a ton of fun.
I totally agree.
So what were your guys' thoughts when we watched the component video?
What a random collection of stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely it was funny just kind of talking about what was in it because the first thing we did is we all huddled around my TV and watched JR unboxing everything, and then we raced around my office trying to find placeholders for everything. And we're still not sure of the final components of it. It should be here in the next couple days. So we're trying to hold it off going too far until we know what the specifics are. But it was a lot of fun, saying, okay, well, there's one brick resource. What are we going to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's 2 coins with dragons on them, which doesn't seem to fit with any of the other stuff we got. Like, how are we going to make that work?
What I enjoyed was that through the iterations, we focused in on what was the essence of each of the pieces. And I thought that helped a lot in the iterations.
Yeah, it was really neat because typically when you design, you come up with a whole bunch of ideas and then match pieces to them, but we were kind of working in reverse. And it was really interesting saying, okay, well, we have this panda meeple. What does the panda meeple do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I thought was cool is we ended up having a way to use, not to go into a lot of detail, but we had a way to use the panda meeple, and also we had cut out tokens. One was a panda, and then we had a square, and I think we found a really neat way of working those into the game and making it seem like, oh, well, of course that's what that does. That's exactly why you got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny how well, by the end, the components matched the design.
And I think it's interesting. A lot of times, there's the big debate, which comes first, mechanics or theme. People are all over the place on that. But in neither of those is the first thing components.
Right,
Components, and so we went from components. How the heck do we use 6 gems or 5 gems?
Yeah.
We went from components. We skipped over theme because it was just such a weird grab bag, and went straight to mechanics. Like, how can we use these things together? Especially, and I think the biggest curveball for me was that we have 3 packs of 25 cards that are different. That they're different core, and I think that was probably the biggest limiting factor for me. Going, okay, we can't just make one big deck out of this. We really have to limit things down. Otherwise, it'll just be weird. So I think that was interesting. Starting with components, going to mechanics, and at least where we are now, trying to find themes that inform the design, that make it better, that make the mechanics shine even more.
Yeah. One of the things that really stuck out for me is during our first one, when we went through, we had a thing that said, you roll dice. And somebody said, why do you roll dice? I'm like, I don't know, because we have dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, one way or another, those dice were getting added. We just had to figure out a way through after 3 playthroughs or whatever it was.
And we added them in, 4 different ways?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was neat watching that metamorphosis of the game, from those initial kind of seeds of the ideas. And it's nice because most of us are big fans of the fail faster design philosophy. And I know Travis and John, you guys like talking about that, so why don't you guys talk a little bit about what fail faster is?
You want to start, Travis?
Sure. So fail faster design is trying to get something to the table as soon as possible. The minimum viable product, I guess. And you throw it out there knowing that it's not perfect. You don't spend too much time on it, and you just have something. Because then you can find out what parts of it are good, what's fun, what's not, what throws everything off. And you can at least go back to the drawing board and try again. We had 4 versions of this game over that playtest session.
How long was the
first of which
playtest
really
session?
did not work.
Yeah.
I think we started at, 1:30? We went till about 7:30, 8 o'clock with it.
Yeah, it was about 8 hours.
Yeah, it was a nice long session. Now, that was just on the second game. We designed the first game for like 3 hours, right?
Right, yeah, it was from 10 to 1.
Yeah. And I guess for me, fail faster, I often get bogged down in details. And so just the most recent game that I've been working on, it's failed so many times that I gutted everything out that, didn't have a hook and rebuilt it. And I think if you're not failing fast enough, you can get a lot of drag. You can get a lot of things. Well, why am I doing this thing or that thing? Well, it's been in it 7 or 8 itinerations, and now I'm sort of stuck with it. But if you're failing fast, then you can resurrect a lot more quickly. I forget who it was, but they brought a board to one of our design meetups, and they just had a board with things taped on it, and we could physically rearrange the board in a way that made sense just by pulling up the tape and moving the thing. If you're getting too in love with the current design, it really hampers how far it can go and how much better it can get.
Yeah,
I've learned that a lot on the couple times I've gone to the design thing, is that you guys aren't afraid to be like, well, why did you do it this way? I was like, well, that's how the game goes for now. And they're like, well, why doesn't the game do something else? I'm like, why doesn't the game do something else? I don't know. Let me just go tear all this down and try again.
Yeah, Ian, I want to sincerely apologize for our last session where your game hit the table and I think we played half a round before.
Yeah, I had a turn, and then I think John Burns had a turn, and then before John Gilmour had a turn, he decided to tell me everything that was wrong with it.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had shorter play tests to some of my games. I mean, I've aborted it before the first turn, just because I realized, oh, this setup's impossible. I need to just go back. It was really neat doing reiterations of the game and iterating and then trying something new so quickly. I mean, we would set up, tear down, make changes, and then set up again in like a 20-minute period.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best thing for that was when how much the coins were worth at the end.
Oh yeah.
That's something that changed, and we tore that down like 3 times really quickly because we realized it was way overpowered to be in control of those. Because they were worth, I think, 25 a piece because there's 2 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
In a not high scoring scenario.
Well, I think our final version had them drop all the way down to 10. Or did it go to 5 then?
No, I think it's 10.
It's 10?
Yeah.
I think in the current draft of the rules, it's 10.
Okay.
But it went from 25 to, I think, 20 to 15 to 10.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anything stayed the way it was in the first play test, except maybe the board setup.
Yeah, I think that's
the only
it.
thing that stayed.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see what what the next iteration brings. I mean, because I think we're still going to tweak some stuff, even though it felt fairly good there towards the end. Because we probably played it most of the way through at least a dozen times, it felt like. How many do you guys think?
I believe it was 5 full runs.
Yeah, and quite a few aborted ones.
I wanted to keep playing it on the aborted ones. I know that much. I was just like, can we just keep going? Like, I'm really close. I want to win.
Yeah, prototype game wins and losses usually don't count.
No, mine count.
I mean, I definitely logged it all on Board Game Geek, but usually if somebody wins because something's horribly broken.
Yeah, my wife is incredibly good at finding those loopholes and destroying me. It's like, okay, well, we need to fix that because, you've now broken the game, which is back to fail faster. If you can break it, you should break it as early as possible so that you can, the last thing you want to do is build an entire system upon something that's inherently flawed. Because instead of breaking down in 20 minutes, it's now an hour and a half of rebalancing and breaking down. But if you find, well, yeah, coins are broken, we need to fix coins, otherwise nothing else in relation to coins will make sense if we change it. So doing that as fast as possible is really important.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, that was definitely crucial to the process.
And it's not hard to do. It's easy to fail. We've all done it.
Many times.
But that's what makes a game good, is going through all those broken processes, and you try to take the fun things out of each playthrough, and then build on them.
And I think, like Ian was saying, if you want to keep going, there's something fun there. If it's compelling when it's broken, it's even more compelling when it's working more smoothly.
Yeah. So kind of the next step, and I feel like we're at a good place right now, is going to be continuing to play it and break it, and trying to figure out a theme. I think we're having a little bit of disagreement between everybody on what themes they like and what they think would fit it.
Well, I mean, we're kind of pasting a theme on no matter what we go with because our pieces are so diverse.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a theme that fits a mouse, a panda, and a futuristic soldier.
Not to mention, you get 1 gold brick, 2 dragon coins, and 1 clay brick.
It sounds like the setup to a really bad knock-knock joke or something.
Yes.
A mouse, a panda, and a futuristic soldier walk into a bar.
But it was fun towards the 4th and 5th iteration of the game to actually get to a point where you felt you knew what each of those pieces meant on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't specifically, even if they don't have a theme yet, you know, if you get to the mouse, that specific thing was going to happen, and that was a strategy that you could adopt. Or if you go for the soldier guy, you know that the soldier guy is going to give you a benefit that you wouldn't get otherwise. And the panda, and they all felt like they did completely different things, but they all made sense within the scope of what the game is.
Right. They were all within the framework of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seeing that kind of culture and the the different nomenclature pick up, like we would start making jokes about those things, and like you do when you're playing a game, and you start looking at the mechanics and you make fun of them, and start coming up with funny names for things. We were at that point, which was neat. So I think that's it covers most of the stuff for tonight. I just kind of want to talk about what was going on, and now we're kind of in the steps of Ian's working on some of the graphic design stuff. So is there anything exciting to tell us there, Ian?
Did you want me to reveal the idea for the theme as of now? Because that kind of informs what I've done so far.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it a little bit.
Well, you said that we were going to go for like a space type theme, with the possibility of maybe like there was an asteroid field of some sort, and that was our play space.
Play in space. Our play space.
So what I've done so far is I've downloaded a lot of space backgrounds and things, and since we have a lot of cards to play with, I've downloaded quite a few different backgrounds to give each one sort of their own feel to it, and so they're not all just like the same texture with a little bit thing different added on top. So maybe there'll be a lot of different colors and a lot of different things visually going on is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you do as far as the layout goes too, because really we didn't have a lot of information on the cards, so I think the way that it gets presented is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I might do a couple different things. I might just do a text box initially just to make it easier, but then I was thinking about sort of working it in maybe within the stars or something within the background, something that seemed natural to fit to keep the flow of everything going.
Very neat. So hopefully, as the contest goes on, we'll start showing some of that stuff and talking about the mechanics and what we're doing a little bit more in future videos. Because really, we only have 3-4 weeks.
Oh, I was going to ask that. I thought it was 2.
They moved the date to February 20th.
Oh, because they. Okay.
Because judges was out of town or something like that. He said.
Yeah, there was a convention and a few other things. So yeah, the end date is the 20th. So I'd like to submit things early that week just to make sure that there's no problem. So that really gives us 2 more solid weeks of playtesting and design. Now I think at least 3 of us are going to Unpub, so that'll be Travis, John, and myself, which is in Baltimore, right?
Yep.
Yes.
on the weekend of the 7th. So we'll be there, and we'll have the game with us. So if anybody wants to, give us some feedback, we'll certainly be more than happy to throw it down. And then hopefully we'll try to do at least a video a week until then, just to kind of talk about where we're at and try to document a little bit of the process at least. So anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
What do you
If
think?
we can get an extra set
sorry,
together, I can take it to stages. Sorry.
What was that, Thor?
I was going to say if we can get an extra set together, I could take it to stages and try playing it blind with some people.
Yeah, we'll get you the one set that I think Travis took, right?
Yeah, I took the set.
That would be fine.
We'll get that handed off to you, and then we'll bring the other set to Unpub with us.
With the actual components?
Yeah.
With the real live panda.
In a cage.
I was going to ask, everyone's getting their own special thing in the components. So do you have an idea of what maybe, do we have an idea what we would want that to be?
We joked about how awesome it would be if there was one more brick.
Yeah.
If only we had 2 bricks.
One more brick would make our design just completely sane.
It would fix our economy.
I'm still hoping for a hula hoop. That will change the game completely.
There's this huge email list going back and forth between the contestants, and the running joke is that like every game's going to have a rondel in it. So I'm really hoping that's the secret component, is a rondel in every box.
I don't know what that is.
Thor, you know rondels, right?
As in an outer track?
Yeah. Yeah, usually it's like an outer track that the pieces will move around. I'm trying to think of a game that uses it really well.
Trajan uses one really well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Trajan and I think Imperial does, which I've only played once, but I need to pick up. Usually, your choices are kind of limited by how far around it you can move.
Okay. All right.
So Ian's kind of new to gaming, so when we throw around times, you have to explain.
He's the everyday man.
Yeah.
And I come up with everyday ideas for the games I play.
So you make it sound like we tricked him into helping us on this now.
We promised him brownies or something, I think.
Jim, do you eat my brownie? Is that what you were eating?
It might be.
No, I said I didn't know how much help I was going to be able to be, but I think it would have been. I thought it was going to be fun, and I was right. It was a lot of fun the first time around.
And you were tremendous help.
Really excited. I did a great job.
Well, I've got about 10 minutes of use on my laptop, so let's...
Which equals like 3 seconds.
All right, so we'll talk to everybody next week, and I look forward to seeing what all the other groups bring to it. If anybody have any questions, feel free to tweet at me. My Twitter is @JohnGilmour, or email or send a message, however. And everybody have a good week, and I'm looking forward to keeping to work on this.
Okie doke.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.